freaking cannabis, you know, it's like a dog and a wolf and a chihuahua, and if you were to take their blood and study their blood, you know, and we're talking about, you know, tracing their DNA back, you're going to find their freaking exact, they all originate from canines, you know, so hemp is cannabis, whether people want to admit that or not. And one of the biggest differences that we were just talking about was when you're talking about CBD oil is, you know, where was that, how was that oil extracted, you know? The laws behind the part of the plant that the oil can be extracted from are very, very vague. And originally, prior to 2014, all hemp products that entered this country the oil had to be extracted from the stalks and seeds of the plant. Post 2014, the Farm Bill Act, Industrial Hemp Act, kind of redefined hemp in this country, and now you have, you know, extraction from flowers, you know, and I would say that's a really big difference, is where is the oil being extracted, but then the CBD concentrate of that oil is going to be indicative of what it was extracted from, because, you know, milk that comes from hemp seed is hemp extract, but if you're going to do you know, if you're going to do a cannabinoid profile on that, you're going to find that it has very, very small trace. It's going to have THC in it, I'll tell you that right now, especially if you're testing to the 1,000. I mean, so it's probably going to have 0.001% THC. And then if those seeds weren't cleaned off, it might have higher concentrations. So that's a hemp extract. That is a hemp oil. That is a, and so, but that's going to have very, very, I mean, we're talking 0.1%, you know, of the CBD levels of some of the oils that are coming out now. So, I guess they're the exact same thing, except for, you know, always an exception to the rule, right? Except depending on what that oil was extracted from. Was it extracted from stalks? Was it extracted from seeds? Or was it extracted from flowers? Because the resin in the plant comes from the flowers of the plant.
Right.
So,
and they know that with testing.
And then, yeah, and your test will reflect that. So if you see a test that's 0.05% CBD, it's probably extracted from the stalk and from the seeds. And it's not going to be very, you're going to have to consume 100 grams of that in one day, you know, to get any type of benefit. I'm not going to say medicinal benefit, but any type of wellness benefit. So, you know, the biggest difference is what was the extraction, what was used as the material to extract this oil. And then, you know, that's, I would say, other than that, molecular speaking, they're exactly the same.
All right. Did that answer the question? You guys can, audience participation moment, I threw it back to you. No, I was saying, did he answer the question? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah. We awake? So, okay,
everybody
Glenn.
stand up and do 10 jumping jacks.
Yeah, right. So, Glenn, all right, this question is for you. How is CBD hemp oil legal to sell and distribute in places like Texas?
Oh, good. I get the legal play. Well, it all comes back to really what we've been talking about the entire time. This all came about starting in about 2002. It would take me an hour to go through the whole legality of it, but it started in 2002 with the lawsuit from the HIA that was filed in the courts against the DEA. And basically what it came down to was that the DEA had stepped in and closed down some lotion companies that had some hemp extracts in it. And the battle at the time wasn't even over CBD, it was just over hemp oil. And so DEA stepped in, shut these companies down. HIA, which is the Hemp Industry Association, filed a lawsuit against the DEA. It took about 2 years to get through the courts. The final ruling, bottom line, was that DEA didn't have any jurisdiction over hemp products. It was regulated through the FDA as opposed to the DEA. DEA's fought that off and on throughout the years, but I'm not going to say they finally gave up on the fight. They're just kind of dormant on the fight as of right now, just due to the fact that you have so much other legalization and things like that that's going on, that it would probably be a fairly hard battle for them to face right now. And I think on a federal level, they're really not wanting to deal with it. So until that's actually overturned, that's what makes it legal for us to do this on a 50-state basis. We have what the courts basically ruled was that once again that it's regulated through the FDA. The DEA has no jurisdiction over it. And in 2004, it was because hemp wasn't legal to grow here in the United States. It was stated that hemp products to be imported into the states had to be in certain forms, like Carlos was saying. If it came in an oil form, it had to be extracted in a certain way. And from certain parts of from the plant. The 2014 Farm Bill allowed us to be able to kind of expand upon that, but we're able to still move it around all 50 states because of what happened in 2004. So that's kind of the basis of how we're able to do what we're able to do.
Okay, great. So Nathan, can you tell us how the Texas law enforcement or DEA or whoever's got a badge today can determine or differentiate between CBD oil sourced from hemp and cannabis?
Well, I'm not an authority on this subject. I'm not the Texas DEA or whoever department, some agency. I understand, and I watched some Arthur Mayer video about how they can take your stuff, and confiscate it. I think that they can kind of do whatever they want. Unfortunately, the law always wins. And if you want to fight it, and they want to try to say that this is cannabis, this is weed, this is marijuana, and it's not, and they want to go ahead and give you a ticket, put you in jail, they can do whatever they want. Doesn't mean that you're going to be found guilty. This is my opinion. This isn't fact, by the way. So what I believe that they can do, though, is what they do is test it. And they're going to find out that it doesn't have the THC limits. And correct me if I'm wrong, but is it 0.5 in Texas?
0.3.
It is
0.5 is considered medical cannabis, but those rules, those licenses haven't been issued yet to cultivate that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, anything higher than 0.3.
So, I can stand corrected if, I'm wrong, but nobody wants to add to that.
Well, I think I can add a lot to this because we just recently had a client that's going to remain anonymous, very close to me, that has lupus, that's been taking CBD oil for her lupus, and this individual is on probation, and for I want to say it's a Class 1 state felony. So she had 5 years of prison time deferred, and started taking the CBD oil. Well, she went to go check in with her probation officer and tested positive for cannabinoids. Okay, her court order, her probation court order reads, and I'm reading this verbatim: individual must refrain from illegal use of any controlled substance, marijuana, cannabinoids, and or any alcoholic beverages. So our argument was, well, she didn't take illegal. First of all, why the hell is Texas testing for cannabinoids, right? Second of all, she didn't take cannabinoids from an illegal source. So we had a great attorney that took the case on pro bono, and I'm going to give him a little plug here because he did an awesome job. So Mike Ware of Mike Ware Law, who's part of the Innocence Project, he's exonerated 25 individuals. He used to work for Craig Watkins in Dallas County, and he took the case on pro bono, and he pled to the judge and to the court, hey, she didn't take cannabinoids from an illegal substance. So this happened on Tuesday, and on Tuesday she was literally about to be in handcuffs on her way to jail, and I was in communication with her, and we basically told the PO that if you arrest her right now, we're going to sue the probation department, we're going to sue Tarrant County, and we're going to sue the city of Fort Worth, and we're going to the media, because you are interpreting that clause the way that you see fit and not the way that it's written. So, we fought it out with them, and Friday morning they dropped the probation violation. So they're not going to give us anything that says hemp CBD oil is legal, because that'd be asking way too much. But it's my opinion that by default, they initially said that inadvertently, because if not, she would be in probation under agreement. So the secondary urinalysis came back negative for THC, but she still had cannabinoids in her system. So, and we can go further into this and say, the Texas Controlled Substance Act, nowhere in the Texas Controlled Substance Act or in the Texas Public Health and Safety Code is cannabinoids, even more specifically cannabidiol, listed once as a controlled substance. So the way that the state of Texas is trying to handle this is, well, the definition of marijuana in the state of Texas is any cannabis sativa L plant growing or not, and any derivative of that plant. And then it also goes on to say, this term does not include derivatives, oils, cakes, and extracts. So it's kind of confusing because then that goes to the Texas. From there, they're saying, okay, if it's an extract, it doesn't classify as marijuana. So now they have another law under the Public Health and Safety Code. It's the hashish definition. Texas defines hashish as any substance containing tetrahydrocannabinoids derived from the cannabis plant. Then it goes on to list Delta 1, Delta 2, Delta 3, and it's whether in its natural or synthetic version. So the state of Texas really is saying that the CBD oil can be classified as hashish if it tests positive for tetrahydrocannabinoid. Any CBD oil is going to have some minimal trace amounts. I mean, if they're testing to the 1,000 or to the 100, it's going to have trace amounts. So now the state of Texas needs to be more clear. Okay, well, we need to have a threshold. 0.3% or less should be considered hemp, and anything above that would be cannabis. So to go even further than that, it is our opinion and the opinion of a lot of attorneys in this country that the omnibus spending bill of 2015 prohibits the Department of Justice from spending any funds prosecuting individuals in medical marijuana and hemp industries that are operating within their respective state laws. So we go back to the Farm Bill, right? If your growers are licensed by the Farm Bill in their respective state through the Department of Agriculture, or if you're importing your products from an approved country, then you're operating pursuant to the Farm Bill, which then means that you are exempt from being prosecuted within these two industries on a federal level. So now Tarrant County receives federal funding. So it's our opinion that because they receive federal funding, they cannot use any of those federal funds to prosecute individuals in the hemp or cannabis industries. So that is the murky, ambiguous, crystal clear environment that we're working in. And we will fight that if we have to, tooth and nail. We have the Texas Hemp Industry Association, Sheila Hemphill and Colin Hemphill. I've been in communication with them throughout this whole thing, and they are very, very behind us. The hemp industry as a whole. I mean, I think if us three companies got together and put up, a bill for a legal team, we'll fight the state of Texas on this issue. We're not going away. We understand the laws, and we feel that we're operating 100% within federal and state laws. So we're working with a couple of lobby groups right now through the Hemp Industry Association to amend the definition of marijuana in the state of Texas and put a hemp amendment in that definition that just amend 0.3% THC or less is considered hemp if operating pursuant to the Farm Bill and whatever. So that's the murky legal situation.
That was a fantastic answer. I gotta give him a hand.
I hope that makes sense. Because it kind of confuses me sometimes. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. Here's something that's a real simple deal as well. Justin, whenever we started selling this stuff nationwide, we had several different people come to us and go, hey man, I want to be able to sell it in my state, but I'm scared. I don't want somebody busting down my door, coming in and taking my dogs and cats and all sorts of other stuff. And so Justin actually started calling around and talking to some of the state DAs and the drug enforcement agencies of all these different states and stuff. And I think you started off with the drug enforcement agencies first and then went to the DA after that. Anyways, we got basically the same comment from every single one of them. One is, we don't even know what we would try them on. Two is, it ain't even on our radar. That's the comment that we pretty much got from every single one of them, that it's not on their radar. They're not going out there and going, hey, we're going to bust in these people's houses and take their tincture of CBD oil, Well, as a matter of fact, let me just go even further and say that I spoke to the head of narcotics, who apparently, according to Leafly, I was detained by, and once again, I would like to say I was not detained by Fort Worth Narcotics. We had a sensible conversation, and the dude was actually really nice, but What it all comes down to is they've got better things to do. One is it's not illegal. Two is it's not anywhere on their radar. It's a waste of the DA's time even if it came up on their radar. And they got meth houses to go out there and crack and bust down and everything. This is the least thing that they're worried about right now. So that's just kind of simplifies it even more. They don't care.
Well, and the thing is that I hate to poke a sleeping bear, but the DEA's hands are tied right now because based on that decision that came down from that federal judge out of the 9th District, any hemp derivative is excluded from the Controlled Substance Act. So we've talked to local DEA, and it really falls on local law enforcement. So it's a battle that we're going to have to fight at the local level, which is great because I'd rather fight local government than the federal government. But
and most of the local guys don't want that publicity.
they don't want that fight. People don't want that fight.
I feel like you're talking about too, with all those products from Whole Foods, National Grocers.
Right, and that's when that's the thing is when we went to the attorney and the attorney went to talk to the judge. He said, if you're going to come after my client, you better be ready to go after Whole Foods and Kroger and Target and Walmart and every company that carries any hemp product, which by definition would be considered as hashish in the state of Texas, because it's going to test positive for tetrahydrocannabinol. So we have to set a limit. We can't just say anything that contains tetrahydrocannabinol, delta 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, all of them is hashish, because that's a fight that, Jesus Christ, Walmart probably has more money in the state of Texas, So I don't think they want to fight that fight, So, and I hate to poke a sleeping bear, you got to respect your enemies, for a lack of better terms, but that's the current situation as it stands.
Friends we haven't made yet.
And then also, whenever we were speaking to the police department, as far as the Fort Worth Police Department, most of those guys are on board. And I can't speak for every single one of them, obviously, because we're kind of public right now. I don't want to say that every single one of them's on board, but the guys that we spoke with whenever we were going through this, the majority of them said, "Hey, man, we get it, we understand." So it's not like you've got this conspiracy of police officers and stuff that are out there, or just a justice system that is coming after the industry right now. Now, if somebody's got an illegal pot grow going someplace, that's a different story. That's definitely against the law right now. But doing what we're doing and providing compassionate care to individuals, that's not something they want to get the publicity on, and something, and a lot of these guys actually understand it and they follow it and stuff. We've got police officers that take CBD. We've got attorneys that take CBD. There's higher up officials that take CBD. They get it, they understand it. So there's a lot of paranoia that kind of still goes around it right now, but it's being broken down, and there's nothing to be paranoid about, really. So.
Oh, there's definitely something.
On this side of it.
Yeah, okay.
The paranoia will go away.
Yeah.
Is it paranoia or arrest anxiety disorder? So this question is for Nathan from CBD American Shaman. What are some of the ailments or illnesses that some of your customers are using your CBD products for and receiving some kind of benefit from?
It would be easier to list the ones that they aren't. Just to kind of sum that up, it is amazing. It's a miracle. Every person so far, it's so encouraging that we're doing the right thing. When somebody comes to us with arthritis and we throw some lotion on their hands, and 20 minutes later they freak out and they're talking about how they haven't had movement in their hands like this in 20 years. And when somebody like my mom who has stage 4 cancer is working after 3 days of usage, my sister, MS, steady hand after a year and a half, like you were saying, it's just so many. It's hard to keep track of, and it's so rewarding. And I think anxiety and PTSD and stress, those types of things right now seem to be the most prevalent, and vaping is one of the ways that we're delivering that, the benefits, the easiest. The tincture will work as well, but when you vape, you're connecting with the CB1 receptors are getting stimulated, and it's bringing balance. I mean, the whole thing, the prime directive of this oil is homeostasis. So whatever is out of balance will find its way in balance. If it's low on that spectrum, it's going to help increase it. If it's overloaded, you're gonna end up coming down a little bit. So if your mind is going like crazy and you can't sleep at night, you puff on your vaping unit a little bit, you're probably gonna have more clarity, a sense of calmness, and it's just gonna bring some soothing to you. I mean, this is what people are talking about, and somebody who has nightmares ridiculously, like for years and years, says, I just haven't slept like that in forever. And I mean, if you can bring somebody a good night's sleep, I mean, that seems to be the thing, this busy mind that we have. I mean, that's why I'm saying people are just stressed out in the world. They need something, and it's legal, you know, and it's not really that expensive to where here's this little pill. I'm going to list off 20 minutes worth of side effects. One of them is going to be restlessness, and you're probably going to need some more money to buy the pills that those ones are going to impact. So yeah, I mean, it's actually something that I don't see people having to be reliant on it. Sure, it's good to have maintaining good health, and you should always give yourself general upkeep. And if you have a serious problem and you're putting something in your body that's going to help bring your body back into balance, that problem's not going to be needing that type of addressing, you know, the rest of your life. You just give it that general maintenance and you're good to go. So if you want to look at it as far as like money goes too, isn't it cheaper to bring good health into your life? In the long run, you're living longer, you're more active, you can work more, harder, your mind's clearer, you can think outside the box and build things that you wouldn't have otherwise, you know? So it's more so, it's the plant for human beings. It's meant for us on a biochemical level, and we're just now opening up that box, and it's amazing to see where we're going with it too.
Carlos, do you want to add a little bit to some of your customers that are benefiting from this?
I feel like this is kind of a loaded question because we can't really say, you know.
Sure, I'm not saying
so,
it's curing anything.
So I would say that I've heard, right? I mean, geez, you can just go on and on and on. I mean,
Now you got me wondering, what did I say?
Yeah, no. I mean, lupus, you know. So this individual that was taking this, you know, our oil, she claims, I'll say that again, she was on about 20 different medications, and, you know, Lyrica, hydrocodones, anti-anxiety. I mean, then she had medicines for the side effects of that, and, you know, she stopped taking basically everything, you know. We had another client that she had severe osteoarthritis, and her hands were almost borderline being crippled, I would say. And, you know, she claimed that, and I've seen before and after pictures, they're on her Facebook, they're freaking insane. I mean, it's just, you can't, from 24 hours after application of topical, you know, solution and ingesting as well, she went at it from 2 different approaches. You couldn't even tell a difference. I mean, you couldn't even tell it was the same hand 24 hours later, you know. My dad freaking has bad knees, you know, he takes it for his knees and he claims. I mean, there's just, I could sit up here and talk about it for an hour, and I'm sure all of us, we could be here till 9 o'clock at night talking about the things that it helps people with, but I would say everybody, once again, do your research. You know, do your own research. Don't take it from me, don't take it from American Shaman, don't take it from Glenn. Do your own research, and then pick what applies to your needs.
Amen.
You know.
Great answer. Glenn, I want to give you a chance to kind of answer that as well.
Man, I've heard from a friend of a friend that knew this uncle that, yeah, this is, anybody here from the FDA, by chance?
Yeah.
There's one right over there.
Yeah, right, yeah. Wow, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with Carlos and just say, hey man, do your research. There really is a ton of research that's out there that's available. I would just say that, I'm not gonna make any claims, but based on the research that we've done, you can look at everything from diabetes to high blood pressure to, once again, sleep disorders. I think that one of the biggest things that I've heard, in addition to helping with anxiety and blood pressure and things like that, is people going, man, I got the best night's sleep I've ever had in my entire life. The most vivid dreams I've ever had in my entire life, and good dreams. So that's just what I heard from a friend that had the uncle down the street. Here's the beauty about this stuff, is that there are no harmful side effects. Before I got into this business, I used to watch these commercials that would come up, and then I would kind of laugh at them and go, oh my God, I'm never taking that crap, And now I see these commercials come up, and I just shake my head, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, the FDA approved that?
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, and they say, what about CBD? And I've never known anybody have suicidal thoughts from CBD. I've never had anybody that's had real bad digestive problems from CBD, or died from it, or whatever the case. Most of these medications that they advertise on TV, it sounds like you're going to end up with something worse than what you actually started off with. And just like we've all said, you usually can't just take one medication. You got to take some other kind of medication to offset something that one's doing to you, which leads you to something else. And a lot of these people that have PTSD are on 15 different medications, one to offset something else, And so, some of the research that I've done is showing where some of these guys with PTSD have come completely off of all 15 medications. One thing. But what I'll say is that to date, we don't know of any real harmful side effects from CBD. Once again, do the research, see if you find out anything that there is, just know what you're taking. If you have something that you're trying to fix, try it. It comes to like I think most of it comes to, if it's legit, it's going to come to about $1 a day or something like that. Which is less than most of the medication that's out there. So if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. Now, I will say this. This is something that's in research as well. It works. God, I can't say that. Let me rephrase that.
People have made claims.
Yeah.
Say in the third person.
People. Let's just say if it's that there's a possibility that about 30% of people that it might not work for, but there's maybe about 70% of people that it may work for. But typically I think most drugs that are out there have about a 40% success rate. So.
If I can add something here, you're all different, everybody's different, so, and you all have a different severity of what's going on. So one might have rheumatoid arthritis, another person might just have some stiff joints or achiness. Chronic pain is another one, You have different levels of this stuff. Try somewhere low, work your way up. We never, people are first time hearing about it, and they ask us, how much should I take? I'm not a doctor, I'm not prescribing you, I don't really even know who you are, so I don't even want to come across as a liar and then, write a negative review. Yeah, sure. Just try what you think. Start out with a half a dropper and then work your way up, or work your way down. I mean, you're gonna know something's different. If you don't change your diet, your sleep, something within 3 days, you're gonna feel something, typically, is what we're hearing, So if everything stays the same and is fixed, and you introduce now CBD oil, and all other factors are the same, and if you notice that you're sleeping better, you notice that you have more energy, that your knees don't hurt as much, it's probably what you're taking. Now try a little bit more. And then if they feel even better, then take a little more. Until you get to a point where you think like, okay, I think I'm doing the best that I can with what I got. Everybody's different, and we're not gonna tell you what to do. You're big, you're big boys and girls, and you're gonna be able to figure this one out. Just really zero in on your body and honor it, and Just kind of like if you're tired, take a nap. If you think you need more, take more. You know, and $1 a day, it all depends too. That is just Glenn throwing something out there. Yeah. So I mean, you can get some really strong stuff, and it's going to cost too, because it costs a lot of money to make it too. You know, so but it isn't out of control. That's for sure.
If anybody wonders why we're being kind of ambiguous on this, we can't get in trouble for selling it to you. We can just get in trouble for making claims. So.
Ain't that a bitch? Wow, what a backwards law, huh? So one thing that I can't believe none of them said, so you can't mention anxiety without mentioning road rage, I think. Does anybody have road rage in here? Okay, that's a form of anxiety. That's why I keep a CBD pen with me. Because first off, I'm not going to stink if a police officer pulls me over. I'm not getting all high and driving. But all of a sudden, I am less pissed off that I'm not moving if I've got something. Because a lot of times, right, we're trying to rush home so we can what? Take our medicine? But if you have some legal form of your medicine handy right there, it can really diffuse the situation. It does for me regularly. So if you know anybody with road rage, maybe think about getting them a CBD pen. You know, it may not help them, but it might. And it may keep them from pulling a gun out and shooting